Today, you will be printing yours going around in a circle, creating rotational symmetry. So the first thing you need to do is find the innermost corner. That's the corner where the curved lines or rainbows radiate out from it, okay? So find that inner corner, hold it gently, flip it over, and on that same corner, make some sort of mark so you know what the inside is, okay? So I made an arrow. You can make a tiny dot. Make it small, though, because you can use this styrofoam on your own at home, okay? So do that to get ready. Next thing, you'll be working with ink. You want to squirt out, the first time you make a print, you want to squirt out a nickel-sized blob, so 5 cents, okay? So I'm going to squeeze it out. Okay, and depending upon how things go, I might come around and do that for you. So a dime-sized blob. Then you at your tables have 2 rollers, a smaller one and a bigger one. That bigger one needs to stay on the other side of your table. We're going to be using that to press it down. And the smaller one is what you're going to be using to ink your print, okay? So to ink it, you want to roll it back and forth 2 times and then change directions. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And if you're hearing a very tacky sound, such as I'm doing, you want to stop, and then you get to give it a little squirt of water, okay? So just a small one. And then keep rolling. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now you want to keep the ink inside this square, okay? Don't let it roll outside of it. If you do that, you won't have enough ink to put on your styrofoam. So small rolls. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. And the point of rolling it back and forth 1, 2, 1, 2 times is actually so I coat this roller, this brayer roller, evenly. If you look really close, you can see it's thicker in the middle. And if I don't have an even coating from end to end, when I roll it on here, those thick gooey spots will sink into those cracks and I will not get a good print. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It still sounds pretty tacky. I can always add more ink. I can't add less. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Try and keep it inside the space. Keep up that 1, 2, 1, 2 pattern. And then take a look and see, is it evenly coating it? Okay, it's getting there. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, once it is evenly coating it, okay, as it is now, and I can see it's still shiny, that's what I need. Okay, I'm going to coat this same pattern. 1, 2, and you can see the ink doesn't soak into those cracks. 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm keeping up that 1, 2 pattern because I need to go back and get new ink. 1, 2, 1, 2. So this only transfers it. So make sure you keep going back, getting new ink. Work pretty quick because you don't want your ink to dry out. Okay. Oops. Sorry. 1, 2, 1, 2. So you want to make sure that your whole print is shiny with ink, okay? All right, it's very shiny. It's all coated. I don't see anything spotted. And so I'm ready to print it, okay? Make sure that arrow is lined up and you can see the little cross or T where I had folded. You need to line it up perfectly, okay? Placing it so it just fits into that. And then on the clean side of your table, which I don't have because I'm at my desk, you are going to use that big roller and press it down, okay, to make good contact, okay? And then peel it up and you will have your print. You can see it's a little bit spotty right there. Looks like I didn't get quite enough ink, okay? Usually the first print isn't quite as nice. When you do your second print, you're going to use more like a dime-sized blob, okay? So I'm going to squirt out my ink so it gets to be a little bit smaller this time. And then I repeat that process. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And you want to have it evenly coating it. And look how gooey thick it is in the middle. If I had stopped and just rolled it on right now, those big, thick, gooey lines would fill up those cracks, okay? So I need to keep going. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's very sticky sounding. I'll give it a little squirt. I can always add more later, but I can't add less. And you don't want to have paint soup. 1, 2, 1, 2. So I'm going to take a look at it. It looks like it's pretty close to perfect. I'm going to give it a little bit more rolls. Again, keep it inside that square. Otherwise, you use up your ink on this piece of paper and not on your styrofoam. Okay, And I'm going to go back. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so you're looking to see that it's shiny and coated. It's a little bit kind of spotted right here, okay? 1, 2. All right, I think that looks better. Okay, and then immediately you're going to flip it over and print it. So I have to look for that arrow. It's hard to see, but it's there. And I want that pointing to the inside. I'm going to line it up. Once you've got it down there, press it on. You can't move it either because it'll just make a smeary print. And give it good contact. Okay. All right, so be careful not to roll on top of your other prints. It's going to be a little bit tricky. And then peel it up. Look at that, looks a little bit better. All right, and then you just keep repeating that process. So each time you make a new print, you get another dime-sized blob of ink, okay? Depending upon the class, you might need to raise your hand and I'll come to your table, or I might have some ink there for you, but don't add too much. If you add too much ink, it is going to fill those cracks, and I kind of feel like I might have added a little bit too much ink this time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's nice and quiet. Oh, look at that. It's really thick there in the middle, okay? So I need to keep rolling it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You know what? There's like a dry, I've never had that happen before. I'm working at my dirty desk, and so I think just some charcoal wound its way into my inking palette. So once it's even, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. And then again, finding the middle with that mark, lining it up, just kind of hover it over there. Do your best. Doesn't have to be perfect, just your best. And then printing it. Make sure you're keeping a clean side to your table and a dirty printing side, okay? That'll help you get a nice crisp print, and be careful not to roll onto your inked part. But anyway, looking pretty cool. Again, each time I get to add a new nickel size blob, I kind of felt like a new dime size. Was getting quite a bit of ink, so this time I'm making just adding a small amount. But make sure you get fresh ink each time, otherwise you will not have enough ink, okay? And so yours will come out very spotty, okay? All right, so I'm going to keep working, and I will let you get going.